Hello, welcome to our second trip of Introduction to the Biology of Marine Life, or OCB 1000C. This trip you will be going to Honeymoon Island. Honeymoon Island is at the end of the Dunedin Causeway. So after you cross the causeway, you'll be on a barrier island. So you'll be leaving the mainland off of alternate 19. You'll be turning down Dunedin Causeway. It's Curlew's on one side, Dunedin Causeway's on the other, Causeway Boulevard, and crossing the Intracoastal Waterway. I'll show you what intracoastals are in this segment of the PowerPoint. Then you will go on the barrier island. There is a toll, and after you settle up at the toll booth, proceed. You'll pass a museum on the right, a ferry and a dog beach on the left. Continue straight until you see the nature trail picnic area. Take a right on the road that has the nature trail and the picnic area. At the end of that road, there'll be the nature trail. So go around the bend and park in the parking lot. Directly in front of you, there'll be some restrooms, there'll be a playground, there'll also be a gazebo. Make sure you have bug spray. It is buggy. Go earlier in the morning because you know the Florida heat. You will be in the woods most of the time, so you don't necessarily need sunscreen, but it can't hurt if you are sensitive to the sun. So you're Honeymoon Island, Dunedin Causeway, you're parked and ready to go. We're studying barrier islands. Barrier islands are elongated, mostly sand, like giant sandbars that are parallel to the coast. They were formed at the end of the last ice age. So when we have floods and storms, and the waves make little sandbars that people stand on and they play frisbee with their dog on them and have their redneck yacht clubs hanging out on the sandbars. Well, those are mini sandbars created by our weather today. But when the last ice age ended, there was some major turbulence and they created the barrier islands all the way around the Atlantic seaboard and up around the Gulf. Pacific coast doesn't have them. They're tectonic, they're deeper, they have subduction and transformed plate boundaries, things that you'll learn in earth science we won't really cover now, but it's a totally different coast. So we here on the Atlantic and the Gulf have a very shallow continental shelf, shallow coastline. We had a lot of erosion, the Mississippi and the rivers, so we have a lot of sand. Beautiful sandy beaches on the barrier island. They're always changing, so passes are carved by hurricanes. As a matter of fact, the pass that Honeymoon Island has on it is called Hurricane Pass. Honeymoon Island used to be connected to Caladesi Island, and it was called Hog Island at the time. There was a big hog farm there, how it got its name. Hurricane came, separated the islands, and blew away the hog farm. So now it's a nature park and you can take a ferry to Caladesi Island and have some fun after you're done with your lesson today. Beautiful beach out there. So barrier islands buffer the coastline from storms, so they're very good protecting our coastline. They also provide habitat. In between the barrier island and the mainland, called the intracoastals, they are productive estuaries. And it's estimated that 75 to 80% of marine species use estuaries for reproduction. So these barrier islands hold the cradle to the ocean. Now, I drew this picture on the whiteboard to show you the dynamics of a barrier island. Let me see if I can bring up the arrow. There it is. Your prevailing wind brings waves in. The waves cause what's longshore drift or longshore erosion along the beach. Beaches are on the seaward, here's the Gulf, seaward or Gulfward in our case, side of your barrier islands. The waves wash away smaller sediment, exposing the sand. Here's a pass, could be John's Pass, could be Hurricane's Pass. Inflow, outflow of water, that's the tides. So you get a lot of current in the passes because all the water is forced through this small opening. But inside the intracoastals, you have very little weathering and erosion. So a lot of deposition, sediments, small sediments. These X's all along here, mangrove salt marsh. These X's, mangrove salt marsh. These are all the beach. So this is the intracoastals. Here's the beaches. Your prevailing waves caused by the prevailing wind. A spit is a little deposition form off of a barrier island. It shows you which way the drift is going. So all this is sand being pushed that way, sand spit. It's kind of like just a little appendage that is being pushed. So these are always changing. From the side views, you can see, we'll start here, coastline. Here's your intracoastals, a lot of seagrass growing in there. Deposition occurs, so small sediments, salt marsh, mangrove, even some mud flats in some areas, scrub, and then the maritime forest, which we'll be studying the maritime forest, pines, oaks, different trees, some more scrub, generally palms, palmettos, dunes held together by vegetation. Your sea breezes build up sand. Your dunes here, vegetation grows in the dunes, little mound of sand. That vegetation is sea oats, sea grapes, palmettos, little palmettos maybe, railroad vine. A lot of different plants make up the dunes. Then you have your beach, high tide, low tide beach area. We'll be covering beach topography during the beach field trip when you guys go to Fort DeSoto. Your sandbars are temporary. These get blown around by storms all the time, but the waves come, and when they topple, they dig out a little etch, deposit your sand, and then you have your open zone, your open sea. So barrier islands. Now, today, you're going to be hiking through the maritime forest. So you're going to want to take the Pelican Loop around. I would say go quarter mile. It's a long trail. So maybe your second or third left, and then take that's called the Osprey Trail. Pardon me, the Osprey Trail. You'll see a whole bunch of bird nests, and then take that loop and double back on the Pelican Trail. And the Pelican Trail goes between the mangroves and the scrub, and it'll bring you right back to the bathroom area, and then the parking area. I will be posting a video from the location and taking a bit of a hike myself, showing you some of the highlights of the trail. So view that video before you go to Honeymoon Island for a little lay of the land. But this is the pre-trip activity. As far as goes, again, give me a cover, and then location, description, time, date you went, conditions there were, species list, a list of all of the organisms that you viewed. Most of them are going to be plants. I know that. Break them up by division, kingdom division. With the plants, bryophytes, if you witness any moss. Ferns would be your spore-producing gymnosperm, the slash pine, the longleaf pine, the cedar, angiosperms, your oaks, various flowering plants. Please refer to, in the orientation folder, the common plants in this class. You will see pictures, a lot of them from your thing. You might see birds, osprey, beautiful nests and snags, osprey flying around. I see owls. I'm going to try to show you where the best viewing spot for owl is in the video. I have pictures, beautiful pictures of owls. When you look look through the birds, you'll see that. Vultures. A lot of times you see the vultures flying around. Bald eagles nest there, so you never know what you're going to see bird-wise. So you're gonna focus on the Maritime Forest on the way out. Trail. Take a left. When you get to the end, you're going to be at the Pelican Trail, and you're going to walk through the scrub. You're going to see different habitats. Drier. It's going to be hotter. Sand. You're going to be walking on instead of the packed dirt. On the right-hand side, as you're heading back, you're going to see a bunch of different mangroves. And the left-hand side, you're going to see dune plants, scrub plants. It's going to be a little warmer, and you're going to head back to the parking area. I'll be posting a video showing you the highlights of the Osprey and the Pelican Trail. So probably you'll get 3 short videos discussing that. A very important barrier island aspect, fire. These are shaped by fire because they're dry. We have a dry season. All the tree leaves, the brush, the palm fronds build up on the floor, and we get a lot of lightning capital of America, that's us, Pinellas County. Sparking fires burns away all that fuel. So it's a fire-dependent ecosystem. All the nutrients return to the soil. The palms and the cones a lot of times need the fire to germinate, to clear out, reduce competition and germinate. The gopher tortoise is a keystone species. Keystone species allows other species to live. It digs deep burrows, and during times of fire, all the animals rush and hide in those burrows. Fire burns away, and then they leave. So it's kind of symbiosis where the burrow is protected by other animals because it's needed during fire. And the keystone species, the one that allows other organisms to flourish, is the gopher tortoise. Don't forget, answer the questions in paragraph forms at the end and cite any references you use on this report.